And welcome to the September 10th, 2025 meeting of the Falmouth Conservation Commission. This meeting is being held virtually via Zoom video conference and is also being broadcast by FCTV on cable channel 9. As this meeting is being recorded by Zoom and broadcast by FCTV, please be cognizant of what you say, how you say it, and what can be seen and heard in your background. We have a full complement of commissioners tonight. Thank you all for your dedication. I'd like to remind the commissioners that for commenting, I will call on each of you in turn, so please refrain from speaking over each other. Also, all votes are done by roll call. So when I call your name, please state your name and your vote for the record, even if you made the motion or the second. To our public attendees, at any time during this meeting, you may enter any comment or questions via the chat function. At the appropriate time, they will be read into the record. If as an attendee you'd like to participate in a particular hearing, let us know via the chat function. Then at the appropriate time, you will be promoted into the hearing as a participant. When you are selected, you must have your video enabled, be succinct, respectful of others. Public comments will be limited to 3 minutes each. Regarding IDAs, under a request for a determination of applicability, the applicant is asking the Commission to determine if the provisions of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and/or the Falmouth Wetland Bylaws apply to their proposed project. A negative determination is that the provisions of the Act and/or the bylaw do not apply. Therefore, the project may proceed as proposed. A positive determination means the provisions of the Act and/or the bylaw do in fact apply or may require some conditions. Therefore, the project will
I do want to share with our viewer
require a notice of intent application. So, as an applicant, you want to hear a negative determination. That's for an RDA. All right. So, first up on the agenda this evening is vote minutes of August 27th, 2020.
Mr. Chairman, I reviewed the minutes. I'd like to move approval of the minutes of 9/27, 8/27.
Okay, we got a motion by Steve.
Bird second.
And a second by Courtney. Thank you. No other comments on the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call a roll. Courtney?
Bird eye.
Steve?
Pat and I.
Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
David?
Kent, aye.
Bill?
Duffy eye.
And Russ is an aye. Unanimous. We accepted the minutes of August 27th, 2025. Request for a continuance under a notice of intent. Alan and Janet Sung, 188 Sea Pit Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove an unpermitted dock and to construct a landing with access stairs. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continuance until August 8th.
Bird so move.
No.
Wait a minute.
So when? Not August.
Oh, I'm sorry, October 8th. I'm sorry, guys. October 8th.
I knew that.
I'll second that with the right date. Driscoll.
Ron, you moved it, right? And Ron.
Yes.
Any other comments or questions?
No.
None. I'll call a roll. Courtney?
Bird eye.
Driscoll, aye.
Steve?
Pat and I.
Ron's already voted. Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
David?
Kent, aye.
And I. Unanimous. Continue to October 8th. Next up is Michael and Marnie Farrell, 202 Edgewater Drive East, LLC, 202 Edgewater Drive East, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct a dock. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the applicant is requesting a continuance until September 17th.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
We have a motion and a second to continue to September 17th. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
Russ is an aye. Robbins is an aye. So we continued until September 17th. Request for continuance under an enforcement order. Anthony Aveni Jr. and Elaine Aveni, 42 Squibnocket Drive, East Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted reconstruction of the deck, enlargement of the patio, installation of retaining features, and clearing within conservation jurisdiction. Jen,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the the property owner would like a continuance until September 24th.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
and we have a motion and a second to continue until September 24th by the owner. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call the roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
Robbins is an aye. Unanimous, continued until September 24th. Next up is Steve Augusta, 33 Oyster Shell Lane, East Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted removal of mitigation plantings and unpermitted installation of hardscape within conservation jurisdiction. Jen,
Yes, Mr. Chairman, the property owner would like a continuance until September 24th.
How many
And so moved.
continuances has been?
we got Steve, you moved it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Courtney, second. Is that what I heard?
Second, yeah. How many continuances?
Second.
For which one? This one, Oyster Shell?
Yeah,
I don't know, 2 or 3?
Uh,
Not sure. Jen, do you know that?
I'm looking.
It's
Alyssa?
it's been quite a few, but at this point we do have a restoration expert retained. They had some delays on their end, so we're just waiting on a plan. The intent though is to plant this fall.
okay.
Good
Thank you.
question.
All right, so let me just go over that again. We have a motion by Steve and a second by Courtney to continue until September 24th. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. So any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Court,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
David,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. Unanimous, continued until September 24th. Request for determination of applicability. Jason Sullivan, 420 Seacoast Shores Boulevard, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to reconstruct an existing deck. Alyssa,
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
motion by Courtney and a second by Ron Driscoll. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Holman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. Unanimous. Staff's recommendation. Gladstone de Oliveira, 70 Minot Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove and reconstruct a portion of an existing deck and conduct septic system repairs. Alyssa,
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
okay, motion by Courtney and second by Ron. Accept staff's recommendation. I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
David,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
Robbins is an aye. All right, next up. Oh, geez, this is a long one here. I wonder who put this.
Mr. Chairman, I need to recuse myself.
All right, Courtney, you're recused. Sippawisset Place Homeowners Association and Residents, care of Steve Weinig, 0 Sippawisset Road, map/parcel ID is 35-02-001-000, 43 Sippawisset Road, 42 Loop Road, 43 Loop Road, 50 Loop Road, 54 Loop Road, 58 Loop Road, 60 Loop Road, 64 Loop Road, 68 Loop Road, 72 Loop Road, 0 Loop Road, map/parcel ID is 35-02-004-022, and 86 Loop Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to conduct follow-up invasive species management in accordance with Mass DEP 25-3506. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and a -3 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Driscoll so moved.
Thank you, Ron. How about Dave? You want to second that?
Yeah, first, second, yes.
Thank you.
Enthusiastically.
So we have a motion and a second to accept staff's recommendation. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So we have 6 in favor and 1 abstention. Very good. Courtney, you can come back.
I'm here.
So we survived.
All right. Thank you, Court. All right. Next up is Brian Chase, 95 Shorewood Drive, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to install native plantings, replace impervious surface with grass, and for after the fact, permission to refresh gravel area and remove vegetation. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird so moved.
Driscoll second.
Okay, a motion by Courtney and a second by Ron. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the vote. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. Unanimous. Next up is Gerard Steele, 18 Main Entry Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to install a new Title V sewage disposal system, remove an existing deck, construct an addition, rinse station, retaining wall, and an additional parking area. Install a hardscape patio and walkway. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed, and this project solely takes place in an AE flood zone.
Bird so moved.
Driscoll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Courtney and a second by Ron. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. It's unanimous. Accept staff's recommendation. All right, next up is Curtis Watkins, 179 BB Acres Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to construct a generator platform and install an elevator. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -3 under the state and a -2 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird so moved.
Driscoll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to accept staff's recommendation. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. Thank you. All right, next up is Alex M. and Karen A. Bajarian, 53 Cape Cod Road, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to install a swimming pool. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and a -3 under the bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or questions? Okay, I don't see any. Hearing none, I'm going to I'll call the roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, I.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye, so that's unanimous. Thank you. Accept the staff's recommendations. All right, Brandon, next up is Brandon C. Noonan III, 277 Shorewood Drive, Falmouth, Mass. For permission to construct additions, decks, and a rinse station. Alyssa.
Staff recommends a -2 under the state and bylaw. Resource area boundaries are not confirmed, and this project solely takes place in an AE flood zone.
Bird, so move.
Driscoll second.
So we have a motion by Courtney and a second by Ron. Any other comments or questions? Okay, hearing none, I'm going to call the roll. Courtney,
Bird, aye.
Steve,
Patton, aye.
Ron,
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie,
Holman, aye.
Dave,
Kent, I.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So it's unanimous to accept staff's recommendations. Thank you very much. All right. All right, next up is request for a hearing under notice of intent. All hearings of the Falmouth Conservation Commission are held simultaneously under the authorities of the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act and the Falmouth Wetlands Bylaw. Although a single decision of the commission is issued, it represents a separate decision under each authority. And first up tonight, we have Joan Goldberg, 208 Mill Road, Falmouth, Mass. For after the fact permission to construct a dock with a kayak launch. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I've promoted Chuck Rowland up from Cape and Islands Engineering to present his project. Good evening, Chuck. We haven't seen you in a bit.
Good evening, Chuck Rowland, Cape and Islands Engineering. I am representing the Goldbergs at 208 Mill Road. I'm going to share my screen if that's okay with you.
Please do.
You,
Let me know when that pops up.
up.
Great. So the project as proposed is to permit and maintain an existing unpermitted ramp, float, and kayak launch, and relocate it 2 feet further out into Sitter's Pond at 208 Mill Road. The project requires a waiver from the Falmouth wetland regs for the area of the terminal L or T shape in the or fixed dock for the float or combination thereof shall the requirement is that it shall not exceed 100 feet. And if you add in the end float and the kayak rack, we're at 101 square feet. So we're asking for a 1 square foot waiver. Additionally, the existing floats and kayaks launch will be relocated 2 feet further out, and a proposed 12-foot ramp with through flow decking will be installed. A revision to the narrative is that the posts will not be driven, as discussed in 3.3 construction methodology. It'll be handwork only. They'll be able to pick the posts up, shift it out 2 feet, and no excavator will be needed. The proposed relocated posts do not need heavy equipment, so we believe that there will be very little impact in this area as the proposed work is all hand done. The land under water bodies is the area below the seasonal water mark of Sitter's Pond. And then a couple other notes. We believe that we meet all of the wetland regulations for the Falmouth Wetland Regs 10.53E. So I can run through those real quick, but the dock is going to be less than 100 feet long. The terminal end has more than 3 feet of water at it. We are requesting the 1 square foot waiver for the terminal end. We will not be interfering with recreational, intertidal, or lateral access. No boats shall leak oil. We plan on using just kayaks. Boats will not run in gear while tied up. We are asking that the boat stay in, or the ramp, the float stay in year round. We had some staff comments asking for a bubbler. The client has noted that the lake is not frozen over in over 20 years. So if it's okay that we'll buy a bubbler, and if it looks like the water is going to freeze over, or if we have a cold snap, we can deploy a bubbler fairly easily. But we're going to request that we not have a bubbler in at all times. And just to go over the reason for the 2 foot, pushing it further 2 feet out, so that way we will have a separation to the substrate on the floats. Right now, it's really right up against the grade of the lake, where if we shift it out the 2 feet, we believe we'll have about half a foot separation. These floats draw about less than 2 feet of water, even with people walking on them. And so we believe that we meet the spirit of your regulations if we do shift it out those 2 feet. Staff did request float stops. If you'd really like, feel that we need float stops, it's very difficult to put float stops on a design like this. So we would request that we put in like a timber pad on the bottom here, so that way when the lake drops, it just rests on that one spot, and it's only going to be at the end here as it drops off fairly quickly. And we don't believe that any other part along the float would touch the bottom, so that would be more of like a 2x4 or 2x6 sleeper. And we think that having a sleeper of that size would dissipate any load that float would create. So we don't think it would really cause that much of a disturbance to the bottom. So with that, I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, thank you, Chuck. Jen?
Yeah, Chuck, can you explain that pad again for me? You want to
Sure.
put just a plywood pad underneath the float?
So what they could do is they could attach not plywood, but like a 2x6 piece of timber to the bottom of the float, and then so that way it would be more of a sleeper, that it would, if the lake were to drop, it would rest on that one piece of wood as opposed to the float. Either that, or we could shift it out further if the commission would prefer that, but we would have to have a totally new pier installed, as this type of pier does not accommodate float stops.
Okay, so just for the board, this pier was put in without any permits. So now we're trying to retrofit something that was installed without a permit to fit our regs. My concern is just having that float resting on the water when the water level drops. Is there a way to maybe sleeve the posts or something and stop them somehow doing it like that? Because that's what I thought when what you meant, and that's not what you mean. You're just putting another piece of like post in, and so when it drops, it would rest. Correct?
We'd actually like,
Lay it on
so
the
if-
flat.
yeah, we'd actually attach it to the float, so that way there's just a pad that rests on the bottom. What you said was interesting. I talked to the manufacturer this morning, and he really didn't have a great solution. I'd be afraid that we would compromise the posts if we put that in, and then it would definitely get a little tricky with manufacturing parts that could kind of fit on this type of float if we did that. And did your with
But
your
they could put
suggestion.
in a new, they could put in another dock and meet that, correct?
Yeah, I mean that would definitely, yes, that's
Okay.
always a possibility.
Okay, my other thing is, we don't have waivers, Chuck, but but that's okay. That's okay. I mean, the board's allowed these types of kayak launch docking systems in the past, so I wouldn't worry about asking for a waiver. We just don't do that. It's not a provision under our regs. But we're still kind of curious on the math where you got the 101, where I just got. Oh, I lost my little calculator.
Sorry,
162 or something like that. So if you
sure.
take the numbers that you have on the plan for just the floats, I'm not even talking about the ramp. But if you take the kayak launch numbers you have on the plan and the two floats, if they're both 5 by 9.5, your numbers aren't working.
Sure. So I actually ran this through with Alyssa today. So I'm happy to talk about it.
Please.
So for the terminal end, we're going to use the second of the two floats as opposed to all three floats. So it would be the 5 by 9.5, which is
48 square feet.
so yes, that's 48 square feet. And then the remainder of that to bring it to 101 is the kayak launch. And so I know it does say 4.8 by 14. So that brings you to 67.2, but that does not account for the voids. So if you see my cursor right there, there's a void on this side and then a
Yeah,
void
the
on
little
that.
cutouts. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
and so then if you would like, I can show you a quick photo uh, to show those voids. I don't know if it shows up on your end, but do you see that?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's where the math kind of comes from. So it's
So on
this
this,
way.
hold this picture right.
Yep.
Go back to your 4 by 6. Where would that be located?
Right here, we would fasten it underneath this part
Got
right
it.
here.
Okay. All right.
And it would actually be fastened to the bottom side of the float. So that way it was more of a spread load, spread footing than a point load on the corner of the float.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. I mean, again, this came in as unfortunately an unpermitted structure.
Yeah.
If the board's comfortable with Chuck's thing about, so the whole point is this pond fluctuates and this, when we were there, it was resting on the bottom. So that's just what I kind of want to avoid. It's a
Right.
very small structure. Again, the board has allowed these types of kayak launch systems in the past, even though they technically exceed that terminal float thing. And that's something we can work on in the regs going forward. But as long as this thing does not rest, the entire structure does not rest on the bottom of the pond, that would be the goal.
And we're
To
amenable to a
permitting this.
condition along those
Yeah, to
lines.
permitting this. And Chuck, only the one thing you said, there is no BVW, even though it's written all over the application.
Sorry, I kind of looked real quick for it. What did we list it as a resource?
Alyssa?
Yeah, it's written in the narrative and it's also on the plan, to some of the notes to the right there.
All right. Well, we looked at it again today. We don't feel it's a BVW. And I'm happy to submit a revised plan showing the buffers like we talked about today.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
Great. Thank you, Chuck. Can you stop sharing?
Sure.
Oh,
not super savvy, so I feel like I'm missing something here. Here.
If you,
There we go.
there you go.
Great. Thank you. All right, so Commissioner questions.
Alyssa, do you have any, I'm sorry, Mr. Chairman, Alyssa, did you want to have anything?
Just one final staff comment. The buffer is being cut, Chuck, and there aren't any permits for that. So just for the cutting to stop. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, Alyssa,
Sorry,
thank
Mr.
you.
Chairman.
No, thank you, Jen, for reminding me. Courtney, questions?
Um, yeah, I hate to be a stickler on this, but even though 1 foot is de minimis, I worry about setting precedents and opening doors and things coming back to give us a heart throb later on. Could that deck be shortened by a foot? It's not going to affect your kayak launch. Yeah, you have to reset your piles, but you could shrink the deck by a foot in overall length, and actually then you'd be under wonders, which would be wonderful.
So these are modular. It's a modular type system, so we can't really. It's not like a timber pier where you can just
Yeah.
cut a foot off.
So how can we get this under so we don't have to grant waivers and open doors for precedents and things? I mean, you guys did put this thing in on your own without a permit. So why should I make it easy on you?
Just here representing my client as best I can. One thing we could do is we could remove.
What's that deck made out of? That it's modular, that
It's
it can't be
plastic or
modified.
composite.
Plastic.
Yeah,
Sturdy, durable plastic.
yeah, you can't
Last
cut
I
it.
knew, you could cut sturdy, durable plastic. Anyway, that's my take on it. Maybe I'm being overly grumpy, but then again, I guess I have a right to be. You guys put this in on your own, and we wanted to comply, and you're asking us to grant a waiver, even though it's 1 foot. That gives me a heartthrob because then that later on gives Jen and Alyssa and staff a heartthrob when the next guy comes along and wants a waiver. So, it's called penance,
All right, get your point.
so you got to figure it out how to make it comply and not ask us to stretch it even more when you didn't do it right the first time and get it permitted. Probably if you'd gotten it permitted, then you wouldn't have had a problem with the 1 foot over. I'm sorry to be a pain about this, but I'm looking at my other commissioners all rolling their eyes and so forth.
All right, you all set, Court?
I'm all set.
Thank you. Steve?
No, my concern was more that this seems to be a case of asking for forgiveness instead of permission.
Yes, it is.
And it's unusual for staff to be supportive of this. So I am, at the moment, still of the position that would we have allowed this dock if it had come in on the permit? I don't know if you want to answer that now, but that's the question I have in my head. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. Ron?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with 101 feet, but my question is, we're worried about the pond depth going up and down. Right now, we're in Series 2 or Article 2, whatever, Level 2 drought.
Level 2.
Nowhere near the pond bottom now, is it?
No. No.
No, it's just not a big concern of mine. If they've come up with a little piece of wood or something to save it on an extreme drought, then I'm okay. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Ronnie?
Chuck, I think that's a good solution, putting the sleeper underneath, whether it be a 4x4. And I'm okay with the 101 myself.
Dave,
I'm okay with the 101. I have one question for Jen. Jen, that sleeper, that also pushes down on the shore or the bottom. So why does it solve?
Why is it what, Dave?
What does it solve? Why is it better than the pier pushing down?
It's only
That's,
it's only 4 inches, not the whole bottom of the float, I think.
The whole bottom of the float is pushing on there. Okay, so it's going to reduce it's a square footage or whatever. It's going to reduce the footprint of if it does push down. Is that what it's
I
doing?
think that's the idea, Dave, is it reduce the footprint of the disturbance by at least it would just be that one,
Yeah.
that
First
6x4
Yeah.
instead of the whole thing resting on the bottom.
Ronnie, does that make sense? Your experience.
Yes.
All right. Good. Quick one for Chuck. Chuck, how old is this? How long has this dock been there?
COVID, 2019, 2020.
All right, so fairly recent. Okay. Last question. Is it appropriate to ask to discuss Steve's question? Steve asked if we would have permitted this the way it was presented here. Is that an okay question to ask in this forum or not?
I'm happy to.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It is. You have, I'm thinking of a particular one. I just tried to bring it up and I apologize. Next time I will have the VPN running. If I try to jump on the VPN to bring up the plans, you guys all just froze. So I had to jump out of it. There was one, correct me if I'm wrong, Alyssa, on
92
Coonamessett.
Adamans, 95
Yeah.
Adamans.
I was getting there, Chuck, Coonamessett Pond, where there was a structure with linear floats like that, and next to it was a kayak launching type float structure attached to it. So this wouldn't be breaking with it, not that it wouldn't break precedent, but you have allowed a kayak launch system similar to this in the past. I don't know the exact square footage of the last one, but I do think, and I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Alyssa, it exceeded that 100 square foot terminal float provision that you have.
It did, and it was also in a pond environment.
Correct.
So this one that you're referencing is 144 square feet.
Now, but Chuck, did that include both floats where you're just including one float? Because if we included both your floats, we came out to about 162.
It was a different structure. It was
Yeah, it was
wider
different shape.
at the terminal end. It was slightly different.
It was the same concept. It was the same idea, having the float being able to walk out and then get into the kayak and launch the kayak.
So it sounds to me like we can't be certain that had this come in, we'd asked for permission, we would have said yes. It's not out of keeping with things we've done in the past. So
You've done one similar one, possibly two that I know of, and that's it, and that's recently.
that's good enough. Thank you.
All right, Dave. Thanks.
I'm done.
Yeah, as long as you can rectify the boat not the dock not touching the ground, if you can appease the staff, then I have no issue with this at all. I don't mind the 1 extra foot, but as long as you can, appease, Jen and Alyssa with that. Otherwise, like she said, you can always build a new dock.
Well, if this had come in as a notice to do it, I mean, we wouldn't even be talking about the 100-foot. We'd have probably specified that there had to be stops on that first section so that it couldn't, and you wouldn't have to worry about putting a sleeper underneath there. Probably could have got it a little bit longer at that end. But anyway, as far as I'm concerned, I think if it did come in as a notice, yes, there would have been a few changes, but it probably would have gone by, in my opinion. But Just my opinion. Anything else from the commission?
Yeah, I think we didn't touch on the compressor for the water.
Bubbler.
Well,
Bubbler, yeah, for putting a compressor in, and so I think that's something we need to look at. I know it probably hasn't frozen over Sitters Pond in quite some time, but
depending
I
on
mean,
where this goes, that would be probably in the orders of conditions, you know.
yeah, I mean, when I started out, we used axes and quahog rigs to pull it out of Quistit Harbor, but I think that's gonna have to be a condition.
I was hoping for a happy medium where we had the equipment and we could deploy the equipment, but just maybe not leave it running all winter. Or maybe if we put it in there and then just run an extension cord if it looks like it is going to freeze. But I'm happy to go with whatever you guys suggest.
All right, Jen, did you have something else? And then I'm gonna go to
Just one quick thing. Chuck, we can discuss that in deliberations. I mean, the purpose of having a bubbler is more so when we're looking at more of a solid saltwater pier structure. I mean, those things can experience some severe ice lift, and when they're attached to salt marshes and everything, they can cause quite a bit of damage. In this case, Chuck, you're right, there is no BVW. We're only dealing with an inland bank. The only damage that's going to occur is to Ms. Goldberg's actual plastic dock structure. I mean, it'll just get
Banged up.
crushed. That said, going back to the one on Anamancet, I do believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Alyssa, that was also a module type structure. It wasn't something that was constructed. It was already kind of built and placed there, correct? Yeah. So even though the dimensions aren't exactly the same as the Coonamessett Pond thing, again, it's the same concept. And we can always talk with the board in the future when we're looking at changing the regs and look at these types of structures to allow in certain ponds that don't have or have a restricted horsepower. What's the word I'm looking for? A restricted horsepower provision or rule on them from the town. We can always look at and allowing these types of structures for ease to get into a kayak. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
I think in ponds we also see significantly smaller docks.
Correct.
So this added square footage might be larger in the terminal end, but not as big as we see coastal
Overall.
docks.
Correct.
All right, Jen, anything in the chat?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
What's your pleasure? Do we need anything else? Jen?
I don't believe so. I think the outstanding questions are like, is the board going to accept that sleeper? You can discuss that in deliberations. 2, the bubbler, and 3, just the size.
Okay. Anything else from the commission? All right, what's your pleasure?
Make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement. Driscoll.
Third, second.
So we have a motion by Ron Driscoll to close the hearing and take it under advisement, a second by Courtney. Any other comments or questions? Okay, there are none. I'm going to call the roll to close the hearing. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Keith.
Pat and I.
Ron.
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie.
Bowman, aye.
Dave.
Can't I?
Bill.
Duffy, aye.
And Robbins is an aye. So we're unanimous on closing the hearing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chuck.
Good night, Chuck.
All right. Next up is 188 Sea Pit Road, which has been continued until October 8th. All right. And then 202 Edgewater Drive East, that's also been continued to September 17th. Continue request for a hearing under a notice of intent. Susan Garland, 42 Chase Road, Falmouth, Mass, for permission to remove approximately 7,100 square feet of common reed, Phragmites australis. This
Chairman, I need to recuse myself.
Thank you,
Well,
Ronnie. Mr. Chairman, I have promoted Tyler Gendro of Environmental Landscaping Solutions up to present his project. Tyler, you got me. I was about to click on you, and then you raised your hand, you jumped to the top. So I almost promoted the guy from FCTV up.
all right, evening, Tyler. The floor is yours. Oops.
Uh-oh.
Went to the
Who did I
top.
just lose? Oh, no, there we go.
We can't hear you, Tyler.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can.
Okay. Good evening, Commissioners. For the record, my name is Tyler Goudreau, Environmental Landscape Solutions, representing the applicant Susan Garland for the proposed removal of invasive Phragmites and mitigation following unpermitted hardscape at 42 Chase Road. This project was initially brought before you in March, and we were just proposing this 78 or 7,900 square feet of Phragmites. In a previous application, there was an unsuccessful organic treatment that was proposed. We're proposing a cut and stem injection with a wetland approved herbicide. We have details in the narrative, but we've had great success with this kind of project. We have a couple years where we come in, we use a track in, track out method to try to limit as much disturbance to the salt marsh. While we were submitting that application, there were a number of minor infractions that were found on the site. So we started working with staff, getting a revised site plan, and calculated for a fire pit, extension of a patio, a front walkway, retaining wall, stone driveway, and 2 sheds. When we did our calculations, we calculated about 3,871 square feet of mitigation would be required. We worked with staff. We originally had a meadow proposed in here, and we changed to all woodland species, planted 4 feet on center to meet all mitigation requirements. During the final staff report, there was a small area where there were some lower laying trees that we'd be happy to accommodate and replace. And there was just some discussion about some of the plantings that we proposed under these cedars. We do a lot of mitigation, and all of these plants that we have proposed under here do well under shady conditions, and we really feel that this area of mitigation is appropriate. We actually calculated around the tree trunks to ensure we weren't planting too close to the trees, but would be happy to sort of discuss this and how best to proceed. Thanks.
Okay, Tyler. You can stop sharing now.
Great.
Jen?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Thank you. Tyler has addressed most of the staff's concerns, except for that area that he just mentioned under some existing cedars. There were 2 areas of proposed mitigation planting, one under an area which he has removed and cited elsewhere on the property. Thank you, Tyler. And then this area. Right now, this area is very shaded. It consists, I believe, of mulch right now. It doesn't even believe that grass is growing under there, and we do have serious concerns about mitigation plantings being placed in this area. Again, most of these, the reason for the like large amount of mitigation is a lot of or all of the elements that the mitigation is addressing were unpermitted activities that are being permitted after the fact. So staff feels very strongly that they can either one, move that required mitigation, which we do not believe will thrive in that area. It may survive, but it's not going to thrive in that area, or the applicant can remove some of the unpermitted features to reduce that mitigation requirement. That's all I have for right now, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Jen. Alyssa?
Tyler, just our second comment. It was something I noticed when I went back and looked at the staking. I put a little clipped image in the staff report and highlighted in blue. It's going around those first cedar trees. Just when I saw the staking, it looked like the outline of the cedar trees was kind of over where some of the plants would grow. It just didn't look like you could actually fit single plants in there, like a single row. So I was just recommending that that area get relocated.
Yeah, I took a look at some of the site photos I had. I think you're correct. And we're happy to change that.
Thank you.
I have some photos if the commission would like to see, and I can just kind of explain some of the areas. Maybe the entire area can't be planted, or they feel that. Again, we do a lot of mitigation, standard 3-year maintenance and monitoring contracts. Make sure that we ensure that these plants are successful. And again, a lot of these are in thick, heavily wooded areas of the Cape. But if I may just share my screen one more time, I can show just the area that we have in question. So if you were looking at the plan, it's the lower portion. So this is the portion of the driveway that's proposed to be removed, most of it being in the 50-foot buffer zone.
Tyler, we're not seeing anything, sorry.
Sorry.
It's okay.
How is that?
Yep, we see that.
Sure. Yeah. So this red kind of shows the area where we're some of the driveways to remain. So we talked about some of this area here, but there's some portions. Obviously, all the areas aren't the same. I think we had talked about some of this area being a little bit lower, and understand that. But this, I mean, underneath these cedars, this is about 7:30 in the morning. If you gave it another hour, this is going to have significant sunlight in there, and then heavily shaded in the afternoon. But again, certain species like clethra and huckleberry, all of these do really well under those conditions. It was mulched over the years. I told the applicant if you could forego the mulching this year because we're planning to do the mitigation. So that's the reason why there isn't any plants in here except for this one Rosa Sharon that we'd honestly like to get rid of, but understand that we would leave it and plant around it. But again, and here's another picture, just the branches I measured about 7 to 8 feet up here. None of our plants really get much taller than that, so they'd have plenty of space to get through. There's a little bit of shade around this portion, which is to the west of the mitigation, so maybe we can work with the commission or staff to maybe just edit some of those areas. But I think that it's devoid of vegetation. It would be really good. It's in the buffer zone, so I think beefing that up, and then also just being continuous with the mitigation that's also proposed in this lawn area would look really nice and really fill in that area well.
Tyler, if you could bring your plan back up for a second, if you don't
Yes.
mind. So the point of mitigation is to create a buffer. And the regulations clearly state that the mitigation plantings need to be as close as the resource area as possible. Could you blow that up for a second for me, please, Tyler?
Yes.
If you take a look, and I know, Tyler, you're working, on behalf of your client, doing a great job representing them. But if you look at the way the mitigation is placed on the property, we have all these little paths through there. They seem that you're not forming a nice thick buffer, which that's what mitigation is for. And I stress to the board that this is because the elements that this mitigation is addressing are unpermitted activities on the property. We are bisecting the mitigation for this patio and fire pit area, the garden area where you were just showing. We have another open area or mitigation. I don't know what that area is. It just seems that there are different clumpings and groupings of these mitigation areas. And again, the area where the cedars are very low growing, there could be more trees out there that I'm unaware of. But again, these it's not being placed closest to the resource area. It's not providing a contiguous buffer. And again, if the applicant or the property owner applicant is not satisfied with the amount of mitigation that is required for the unpermitted structures, hardscape, driveway area, then those elements on the property can be removed. That's all, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thanks, Jen.
No problem.
You want to stop sharing, Tyler?
Oh, you can stop
Oh,
sharing.
yeah, sorry
Tyler.
about that.
Sorry.
All right. Alyssa, did you have anything else?
Not at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner questions. Steve, we'll start with you.
Thank you, but I don't have any questions. Thank you.
Ron?
No, I'm all set, thank you. I have no questions. Good luck. Good luck getting rid of those the weeds.
Ronnie, oh, no, Ronnie's,
He recused.
yep, Dave.
Whatever those are.
No questions.
Bill?
Yeah, I was actually going to bring up the same thing Jen brought up when I looked at the plans and saw it. I would recommend that that the applicant actually form a continuous buffer and not plant around their objects. And if they can do that with the blessing and work with conservation staff, then I'd be good with it. But that was going to be my point that I brought up anyways, and Jen articulated much better than me, so thank you very much.
All right, Bill. Okay, anything in the chat, Jen?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, so we're clear. What's your pleasure, guys? What do you want to do? If they did sit down with you, Jen, and you kind of made it more contiguous, we need another plan. You have to draw another plan. Is that correct?
Correct.
So, is this something we could close and do that way, or would you prefer that we? Oh, Courtney, I'm sorry. Did I miss
No,
you?
no, that's all right. I was first of all going to agree with Bill's suggestion and basically with staff. If they can come up with a continuous buffer, I'm happy.
Yeah, I mean that's.
So it can that be conditioned, or do we continue it so that we get something definitive that we can all hang our hats?
Tyler, how receptive is your client going to be to that concept?
Yeah, so I think the driveway, we may, like you mentioned, we may be able to take some of the driveway, and remove some of that and kind of work. I think she understands, or the client understands, hey, we gotta get this done. And it's actually was pretty receptive. I don't know if anybody saw the lawn out there, but it's just totally dead. So there were some areas that we could definitely try to prioritize that 50-foot buffer zone. I think that we could meet it with a reduction a little bit more in the driveway if the commission is amenable to that. And the combination of just the removal of that one planting area that we discussed and moving it closer to the resource area.
So we need a continuance for that.
That's
I
going to
think
be up to the board.
I would recommend a continuance for it.
I mean, we could work with Tyler or the board if you wanted to have the continuance. That's fine too. Doesn't matter to us. You wouldn't be able to have the continuance. It would be October 8th.
The only thing that would concern me, Jen, is if you came to loggerheads and couldn't, you know what I mean? And we go ahead and close the hearing and the
Yeah.
staff and.
How about Tyler? We just continue it. Well, I know it's been continued out a bunch. I know we're right against that planting thing for you, but if we got it to the 8th, we could work with you next week, get a plan together, get it before the board. Actually, hang on. Hold on. We might be able to get to. Hang on.
There we go.
Alyssa, could we do it on the 24th, do you think?
It would be very quick.
Tyler, would that work? If we could work with you towards the end of this week, early next week, you get us a plan. We could get you, if you could get it to us, by Wednesday, Thursday next week, we'll give you an extra day. You could get it on the 24th. That way we could get you in order, and then you could I know you want to get started on that Phragmites this fall.
That was
That's
the only
big thing.
Yeah, I just let the commission know that the Phragmites window is closing, but like a mid-October is probably the latest.
We could work with you to allow you to start that work early, Tyler.
Yeah, so
I
if
mean,
the
we know that's the main goal of the project. You kind of got caught in all of this.
yeah.
We could absolutely work, Mr. Chairman, with your blessing with Tyler to start that Phragmites work prior to like having an official order issued and recorded and, you know, appeal dates held and all of that to get this Phragmites going.
Before I move on here, Dave, you got your hand up? I see you get.
Yeah, Tyler, why is there a window with Phragmites?
Yeah, so
why is there an end date?
yes,
There
so
is.
with Phragmites removal, they have a seed pod. And what happens with the seed pod is that right now it's in its boot stage, so it's in its reproductive stage. When we use this wetland approved herbicide, when it's in its reproductive stage, it's much more likely to uptake than if it's past its reproductive stage. So we would definitely, if we were beyond it, we wouldn't recommend anything beyond say mid-October, because then we would be using a wetland approved herbicide that doesn't affect aquatic species, but nonetheless wouldn't be as effective. So then we would have another year of work that would be required. Whereas if we can work with you, there's really no negative effect to it, other than we're going to have at least a 50 to 60% success rate year one, then go back and get this under control. Because I don't know if anybody's been out to the site, but it's really, really dense, and it's going to be a really time consuming project. But we really want to make sure that marsh is healthy. And then one of our ongoing conditions that we have is if there's any degradation after the fact, we would plant and work with staff on that as well.
The last thing I'd say, just make sure I'm clear what we're doing here. We would expect that the next time this comes in front of us, we'll see a new plan, and that plan hopefully we have a more contiguous buffer, right? That's what we're hoping for.
Correct.
Yes, to be clear. Thanks. I'm done.
Courtney, do you have something?
Yeah, just a question. What's the active ingredient in the herbicide you use?
Yeah, so we typically use a combination of two different. We typically start with a glyphosate-based wetland approved herbicide. Oftentimes we can use another product. It's called imazapyr. It's just that it is an herbicide. So again, it doesn't affect aquatic species like mussels, clams, fish. It really is. It's dependent on the vegetation, and rather than a foliar spray, we're doing injections to the stems only. There's been multiple tests that if you do just enough, it doesn't affect the marsh. In some instances, we're walking in and out, so there's some damage there, and then we replace the cord grass.
Mhm. Okay.
Thank you. All right. What's your pleasure, guys?
1 second, Mr. Chairman. Bill, you had your hand up. Are you all set?
Yeah, my questions were answered during this previous discussion.
Okay.
Okay. So what would you like to do? Continue it, or do you want to close it?
No, I think we should continue it, Mr. Chairman, till the 24th. We'll work with Tyler to get a plan to the board next week. And then again, with your blessing, we can work with Tyler on the Phragmites part of it to get him started before that window closes. I do not understand what you're talking about, Tyler.
I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
Anyone have a problem with that, Jen, working with them to get started with the Phragmites? Anyone have
No, not at all. I'd be happy to do that.
I go to the commissioners.
So at the request of the applicant, I'll move to continue this hearing until September 27. Is it 24? I'm sorry.
Fiscal second.
We have a motion and a second to continue to September 24th. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none. And Jen, there was nothing in the chat, correct?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. I'll call the roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Fiscal aye.
Ronnie.
Ronnie, recused.
Oh, Ronnie's recused. Sorry. Dave,
Kent, aye.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So we're continuing to the 24th. Thank you.
Thank you, Tyler. We'll work with you, Tyler.
Awesome. Thank you all very much.
Not a problem.
All right. Bye-bye.
Next up, continued requests to amend an existing order of conditions. Karen Alcott, trustee, Small Cottage Nominee Realty Trust, 141 Fay Road, Falmouth, Mass. Requests to amend order of conditions for Mass DEP 25-4746 to permit 85 square feet of gravel in Zone A with mitigation and to permit gravel in Zone B without mitigation. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, Ms. Alcott is here to present her continued project. Ms. Alcott, do you have a plan that you can share with us?
Okay, you're muted right now, Ms. Alcott.
Just a second, I'll share it. Okay, can everyone see the plan?
Nope.
Nope.
Not yet.
There you go.
Yeah,
Okay, great.
now as yet.
Yes. Hi, everyone. I'm Karen Algott. I'm the owner of 141 Fay Road. I know we've met many times, and I appreciate the diligence on both sides to try to get through this. When I first came with filings and hearings, I really thought I was doing a certificate of compliance against the permit. We then ran into issues that I did not expect concerning the utility corridor and this pea gravel that was down here, part of it in Zone A, part of it in Zone B. So for now months, we've been sort of working to see how could what kind of solutions could we come up with? I did work with staff many times, had PowerPoints, had meetings, and I tried to thread the needle of protecting windows that are right here that go down to the ground. I removed the pea gravel right here. And so I keep trying to figure out what is good enough. And when we had a couple tough hearings and I took your criticism to heart and was very, very upset. And I tried to, worked with Tom, the surveyor, tried to find solutions. And this whole thing about this pea gravel, which was the only thing under contention at that time, and the amount of mitigation that I would have to do to kind of make this work so I could protect this window, I could line it up with the house a certain amount. I thought that I had the okay to do some plantings. You told me that I didn't, so I apologize. Last hearing, I think we've all been through this. It's been pretty tortuous. So this caused me to sort of step back and say, for the amount of mitigation that it's going to cost me to put this, is there a better way that I could do it? And one of the things that I'm asking for is that I want to build a deck here because this is currently lawn. It's adjacent to the house. It would, and it's very unstable to have people on chairs. So in order to do that, I did I think it's a smart thing for the property. A couple things that I did to do that, working with Tom, is we reduced some of this area. So we just missed the window, but it doesn't have as much tax on the mitigation. I removed some granite steps that are over here. We knitted in this continuous sort of location for mitigation to come up with the right footage for mitigation to allow this deck. And there's one step here. There's just one step, those two elements. Reduce that, take those granite steps away, take all those stepping stones that I had talked about, remove them, and just try to lace in mitigation as appropriate as I could. So we extended an existing spot over here. We added some that goes down to the dune area down here. tried to knit in appropriately. I had asked in my narrative, I might have to move these steps. I'm trying not to if I can, but I'm trying to lace this all in. So all of this mitigation just basically runs out to where the steps are. And then I did, put some mitigation in these garden areas. And then there are a couple things that came up in the report that I saw last night. Is this area right here. There are 4 plants here. It's 14 feet from the house. The hedge belongs to the neighbors and it's on their property. There's not that much of an overhang. And so I have 4 plants there that I had planted before. So I think I just tried to put this on a plan so you guys could all see it. I've got about 35 stakes in my yard. With pink stickers all over the place. And I'm hoping that I've done the job that you would appreciate, which is being contiguous to the existing mitigation, trying to lace it in so it looks appropriate and reducing, just basically trying to use the mitigation for more important things like a deck and so that people don't topple over. And this issue of this pea gravel. So, again, that's kind of, I think, what I have right now. I do have some photos if you want to see photos of this area, but I'll just pause right there because I'm sure there's questions or comments that I'd love to answer.
Thank you, Ms. Alcott. Jen, did you have anything?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Ms. Alcott, I understand you're trying to lace and thread the mitigation, but as I stated at the last hearing, there's supposed to be a buffer. We don't particularly love or think that plants under that hedge are going to do well on that southern area where it's running up along the property line. So we do
This
want
place
to see
right here?
those removed.
These 4 plants,
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Okay.
I remove 40 square feet of what? Nothing's there, Miss Alcott. Nothing's there.
Well, in the previous, I'm sorry.
You had proposed in the previous.
Please do propose. That is correct.
Yeah, it's proposed. It wasn't approved.
Okay, that's
Therefore,
fair.
it can't
That's
be
fair.
removed.
Yeah, I was concerned about your comment that said I was misleading. The removal of the 40 was from the previous proposed. You are correct on that.
So
That's the
we
way
never
Tom
approved it.
labeled
It never was installed. It never was
I get-
mitigated for.
No,
so we
I've
can't
touched
remove it.
nothing. As you
No.
asked me, I have touched
Perfect.
nothing. The stakes are
Okay.
there. You can see it very clearly.
Yep,
So,
that's fine. And then the planting areas, there's still ornamentals in there. So if the board were to allow mitigation in those planting areas, the ornamentals should be removed.
That's mostly on this side where
Yep.
there's some lilies. And so I can do that if that's what you require. When I did the mitigation up here, I did not scorch the land. I left what was ever there and we planted in there. I had the same approach here, but if you need me to take out plants that have been there for 20 years, I can remove those plants. I was planning to plant around them, but you guys can tell me if you'd rather have me remove old plants. That's if that's troublesome to you, I can do that. But I just wanted to, when we did this, we left whatever was there and planted around it. So it's.
Mr. Chairman, I'm done.
Okay.
I'll let Alyssa. Alyssa, can you jump in here for me, please, if you don't mind, Mr. Chairman?
Not at all. Go ahead, Alyssa.
Yeah, just to touch on a couple additional things, Ms. Alcott is requesting that should the board permit the deck, that the mitigation associated with it be installed at 4 feet on center, per our new special condition about that. I did explain to Ms. Alcott on site that the coastal A zone is not the zone A, so we're all good there.
Yeah.
And again, it's up to the board whether they want to discuss it now or in deliberation should they close this hearing, if the mitigation areas are appropriate and if the gravel can remain as is. Thank you.
Okay. Could you stop sharing, Ms. Alcott? Thank you.
Yes, yes.
All right. So, questions from the commissioners. We'll start with Ron this time.
I have no questions or comments at this time, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Thank you, Ron. Ronnie.
Mrs. Alcott, is there anything else you plan on doing in the future here? So we can kind of get this
I
right
have
away?
I have tried to crisscross this as much as I can. The deck, when I looked at the mitigation, I just wanted to make sure I was using the right things. And so I do not expect any other changes. When it comes to planting and things surviving, I can't control that. There is one area down by the dune that I asked Alyssa when she came to visit. Would it be possible to stack the stones that are there to take up less room and put, have the existing dune just build out? Would that be acceptable? And I think what we said, Alyssa, correct me if you're wrong, is we would discuss that when we get to that mitigation. One of the concerns is my neighbors also have an open permit, and it's unknown what they're planting. So, Mr. Bowman, to your point, I put down everything that I would like to do. I would have a little pause whether it will succeed. Some of the mitigation areas, particularly down by the dune, and if there's a better way to do that so that the dune just extends, but I tighten up those rocks. If that makes sense. I don't know if you're following that, but.
No, I just think that we'll take staff's recommendation and on the mitigation and try to put this to bed is what I think we're trying to do.
Okay.
Thank
Well,
you.
I'd be happy to work with Alyssa and Jen when it comes that corner of the mitigation, and if there's a better way to do it by tightening up the rocks or not.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, Ron. Dave.
A question on the pea gravel. I hate to go back to pea gravel. It says remove 40 square feet. Was it actually put in and then removed, or is it changing the plan? We're making a change in the plan.
No, I'm sorry, that's confusing. I had removed the pea gravel. I thought we were doing the right thing. And then this issue about the window, there's no pea gravel in that area right now.
Yeah.
So
Dave,
I would not,
essentially the gravel that she was previously proposing, the square footage has been reduced.
Yeah.
However, it was mitigated for, so that removal of 40 square feet in the zone A at 3 times the rate is being used as credit for what's currently being proposed.
The other thing I'm, as far as the new mitigation compared to the new deck, and you're talking about lacing, it's all fairly confusing to me. I'm not sure. Is it easy to explain again fairly quickly what new mitigation is going into to mitigate for the deck?
yes. Would you
Can
like
you
me
try
to?
again? Because I missed.
You can share the screen again.
Why don't I share the screen again?
Again, try to show us again where that new mitigation is, and other numbers on here that show
Yes,
that
there are. There are. So, Mr. Ken, it's the area right here.
Okay, hold on a second.
Green,
All right, I got you.
The green right here was the original mitigation done, that I thought everything was fine.
Okay.
The extra mitigation for the deck is this red crosshatch, which goes from the line of where the previously planted in up to where the stone wall is. Right now it's a grassy area. It's got some mulch. And the idea is to just pull the mitigation in concert with what's already been planted out here and make some sort of curve and tie these together so that it's basically a fatter native plant sort of look.
And that mitigation, the math works. I mean, that's enough.
So the 285 is here. There's 100 over here. There's 40.
Where's your cursor now?
Where's 100? There's 285 over here. 40 over here, this little triangle.
Gotcha. Okay.
100 over here.
Down there. Okay.
And then 50 over here.
Where's the last one?
50 is down on the second part.
Okay. Now I'm following your cursor this time. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
And so, Alyssa, all that math works out, right?
Yes. Yep. There's actually a 5th section, Ms. Alcott, by one of those ornamentals. The southern
excuse
one.
me. Right there. I'm Susie. You're right. I forgot that. 55 in here.
This time I could follow your cursor. Thank you very much.
Yes, sorry for the confusion.
That's okay.
This is where I tried to weave
It's a
it
little more
in.
complex. It's a little more complex than we usually see. So I need
No.
sorry. I'm done.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Dave. You can stop sharing this archive. That'd be great. All right, Bill.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Courtney.
This has been a struggle. Now, my only question here is, I think everything balances out. It's ready to put to bed. The only issue is that what's the total square footage of the mitigation over by that hedge? And just
We'll work with her, Courtney. Don't worry about it. We'll get it done.
what's that?
15.
We'll get it
what
done.
I'm concerned about is its survivability in that location. And if it's only a minimal amount of square footage, it can be scattered around and added here and there and done.
Okay.
That can be worked out with staff.
We will work it out with Miss Alcott, Courtney.
Yeah, I think staff's concern was that it was, while there's 14 feet from the house and while the hedges are the neighbor's property, there's some area underneath that I had planted. You know, when you take out the steel boundary with the
Mhm.
mulch, it
Yeah.
allows more place, but I'll work with staff to make sure that everybody's
Okay.
happy with those 4 plants.
And if staff is happy and you're happy, I'm happy. Okay, no other questions.
Thanks, Court. Steve.
Courtney's happy, I'm happy.
All right. Jen, is there anything in the chat?
Nothing in the public chat, Mr. Chairman.
All right. What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to close the hearing and take it under advisement.
Driscoll second.
We have a motion to close the hearing and a second by Ron to take it under, close the hearing and take it under advisement. Any other comments or questions by the commission? Okay, hearing none, I'll call the roll. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Pat and I.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie. Ronnie, you froze on me here.
Where's Ronnie? Oh, there he
Bowman,
is.
aye.
Thank you. Dave.
Kent, aye.
Bill.
Duffy, aye.
And Robbins is aye. Okay, voted to close this hearing. Thank you, Ms. Alcott.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good night, Miss Alcott.
Good night.
All right. Next up is a request to extend an existing order of conditions. Frank G. and Donna J. Skelly of 369 Edgewater Drive West, East Falmouth, Mass. And DEP 25-4558 requests a 1-year extension. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we recommend a 1-year extension. There are some issues on the property that we're working with the property owner and their consultant to address.
Bird so move.
Driscoll second.
All right. Any comments or questions from anybody? Nothing in the chat or anything, Jen?
Nothing in the chat, Mr. Chairman.
I'm going to call the roll to extend this 1-year extension. Courtney.
Bird eye.
Steve.
Pat and I.
Ron.
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie.
Bowman, aye.
Dave.
Kent, aye.
Bill.
Duffy, aye.
And Robbins is an aye. Okay, unanimous to grant the extension of 1 year. All right, next is a request for certificate of compliance. Edwin Escadarian, 11 Tonsett Road, North Falmouth, Mass. Request for a certificate of compliance for Mass DEP number 25-4735. I think there's Mr. Escadarian. He's there. Okay.
Yep. I'm
All right.
promoting Mr. Escadarian to a panelist to address the compliance. Mr. Chairman, and Alyssa is going to take this one for me.
All right. Thank you, Jen. Alyssa.
Yes, so before you tonight is a request for a certificate of compliance. I have been working with Mr. Eskandarian and his representatives to address other non-compliance issues on site. At this time, some of the mitigation and restoration have been replanted recently, so we are waiting to make sure that those plants do thrive and that the restoration and mitigation can grow to its full and mature form. The outstanding matter is that there is a fence along the southern property line as shown in the staff report. A fence along the eastern property line had been there since at least 2005 per our available aerial imagery. At the time of reviewing for this notice of intent a handful of years ago, it was discovered through aerial photos that a fence along the southern portion had been installed. Unfortunately, this is a velocity zone, and this board typically does not allow fences to be installed. This was discussed during the hearing. It was voted upon by the commission to require it to be removed. Unfortunately, that was missed from the order of conditions as a special condition. So it wasn't noted on the plan. It wasn't in the paperwork, even though it was discussed. Something got lost in translation, and at this time, the fence is still present and has been elongated further towards Tonsett Road. Mr. Eskandarian would like to make an argument to the commission to keep the fence. The staff's position is simply that it is a velocity zone. It was required to be removed and can't be permitted per your regulations. We did speak with Mr. Eskandarian today, and Mr. Eskandarian, I'm going to send you a little pop-up window to help you unmute and turn on your video.
Thank you.
There we go. And here's one more for you.
Start. Okay.
There you go.
There you go, Mr. Eskandarian.
So we would recommend to the commission to hear out Mr. Eskandarian, and if you so chose to continue the hearing with permission from Mr. Eskandarian to visit the site, see the fence, and we can send you all the proper permitting information and plans of reference.
Right.
Okay, Mr. Eskandarian, I'll give you the floor.
Well, thank you. Good evening, everyone. I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you. I've been working very closely with Alyssa for the last year and a half, and I think we've got most everything solved, as she said, except for the issue of the fence. When we purchased this property, the fence was there and it had been extended, I learned, through Alyssa, but not by us, by the previous owner. It was a white 8-foot plastic solid fence. And when we bought the property, it just was an awful looking thing. And we had no idea that a fence was not permitted. And our engineers never said anything, and the builder never said anything. And I guess it's my responsibility to know that, but I didn't. So to finish off our property, we took that fence down and extended it to Tonsett Road. So it's running north to south. And I understand that you're not supposed to have a fence there, but because it's perpendicular to the water, we thought it wouldn't be a problem in terms of heavy water, heavy waves, if they came on shore, to knock it down because it would be perpendicular. But the reason we actually extended the fence was to protect our property, one, but most of all, my neighbor has small grandchildren, and she was supportive of us expanding the fence to keep her grandkids on her property. She was afraid they'd wander off and get into trouble. The other thing is we're in a high wind velocity area there. And as Alyssa mentioned, many of our plants have died. In fact, we've replaced 1/3 of all the plants we put into this property last summer. This fence does protect much of the plantings that are within 30, 40 feet of it because it mitigates the wind. And we think that is a good solution for the conservation of the plantings and for us. Now, they suggest we put plants there, but plants, we have trouble keeping anything alive. We planted 4 cedars, they all died. We planted them again, they died again. We've replaced 35 plants. So The fence serves two purposes: privacy, safety for our neighbors, kids, and protecting plantings. So we would ask the commission to give us a waiver and allow us to keep the fence. And that's our story. And I'm almost 90 years old, and I don't know how much longer I can go through this mitigation and stay alive. But I would like to get some playback from the commission and see if we can keep that fence.
Okay, Mr. Escuderian, thank you. I just have one question. You say the fence is helping the mitigation that's planted there, but it's still dying off, I thought you said.
No, not there. Where they're dying is along Santuit, where it's on the other side of our wall. We put 35, 40 plants there, and already we replanted them. And it's only been 4 weeks since we replanted them, and about a third of them are dead already. And we put a wind shield there. Our landscaper and Alyssa was there, and she agreed that if we put a windscreen, and that is a 5-foot burlap fence around our plantings, which we did, and still a third of them are dead already, and it's only been 4 weeks. We put extra large sprinklers in there to make sure they get enough water because it's very sandy, and that hasn't solved the problem. So wind is a major issue on our property, and I think Alyssa could confirm that.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Scuderian. Let's start off with Ronnie.
Thank you, Mr. Escuderian. I would like to see it on a plan and see the site for starters. It's kind of hard for me to
Okay, I'd love you
make
to
a
come
decision
out.
on that, but
Yeah.
definitely go out and take a look at it for you.
I would love you to do that. I appreciate it. In fact, I sent some pictures to Alyssa, but I didn't bring them to put. I don't know really how to do this stuff. As I said, I'm 89 years old. I'm lucky I could even, my kids were over here putting me on Zoom because I don't know how to do it. But if you would come, I would appreciate if any other of the commissioners would just come and look at the property and see some of the difficulty of growing things on right by the water. It's very windy.
Mr. Chairman, because the board doesn't have any of the information, usually we will, as Alyssa said, we'll send everyone the information. You can all go out to the site. Mr. Escuderian welcomes the board to go out to the site. We'll send you over the plans. We'll send you over our concerns. There is a difference between where the mitigation was planting versus where it was approved, unfortunately. And I do think that in regards, in addition to the fence, we'll be needing to work with Mr. Escuderian to maybe relocate some of the plantings that are dying right along the area he was just talking about. But instead, I mean, the commission doesn't really know anything, especially this commission won't know really anything about this project. So at this point, I think it's prudent to pick a continuance date. We'll send the board all the information. We'll send the pictures that Mr. Escuderian has sent us. And the board can go out and review the site and let us know if you have any questions.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Not a problem, Mr.
How does everybody
Escuderian.
feel about that? Does anyone have any questions they want to ask before we move on?
Yes, Dave, one quick question, if you don't mind. Jen, is there a plan? The normal kind of plan we have? Fine. Okay. Yeah, we gotta
There's
see.
a plan.
We gotta see it.
There's multiple plans.
All right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, sir. What's your pleasure?
Alyssa, what did we have for a date?
I hadn't discussed one yet with Mr. Escuderian. If we were to push this out like a week or two, would you be available on another Wednesday to join us?
Absolutely. Anytime that suits you.
Okay. Would the commission like 1 week, 2 weeks to go out and see the site?
Well, we have a small workload next week, I take it, next week?
Yes.
So it'll probably be better next week for me, I guess.
Okay. Then to the 17th.
17th, okay.
Next Wednesday, Mr. Escuderian.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem, sir.
So Can somebody give me a motion? How about Bill?
Motion to continue this, rest to the applicant to September 17th.
Bird
I'll
second.
second it.
All right, Bill.
Second
All
it.
right, Bill, I tried.
I wanted to say.
So we have a motion by Ron and a second by Bill to continue to September 17th. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So unanimous. We're going to continue this so we can all get a look at it until September 17th.
Thank you, Mr. Escuderian.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thank you, sir.
it. Good night.
All right.
Good night, sir.
Continued hearings under an enforcement order. First up is Anthony Rossi, 225 Lakeshore Drive, Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted removal of vegetation and unpermitted construction of landscape wall within a buffer to Jenkins Pond. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, we heard this under a notice of intent. The area has been planted, so we can kind of close this enforcement order.
That'd be great.
Now, we will still be working with them through the notice of intent process, the certificate of compliance process, and all of that. But as far as actually dealing with the enforcement order, that was dealt with through the notice.
All right, good.
Do we need any action?
I think she was looking for a motion to close this.
Just close it. Yes.
I make a motion to close the enforcement order hearing
Driscoll,
on
second.
Rochi.
Okay, so we have a motion to close in a second. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call for the roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. Okay, unanimous. That enforcement hearing is closed for 225 Lakeshore Drive. Next up is Margaret I apologize. Maybe my strong point. 30 Woodneck Road, Falmouth, Mass. Unpermitted construction of a deck, patio, and fence, reconstruction of a driveway, and associated clearing of vegetation and altering vegetation within a resource buffer. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, like the last one, we handled this through a notice of intent hearing, so the board can close this enforcement order, and we are anticipating actually a request for a certificate of compliance shortly on this one.
Okay.
So I'll make a motion to close out the enforcement order on Fuffanoff.
Thank you. Thank you, Courtney.
Driscoll, second.
We have a motion and a second to close the hearing on 30 Woodneck Road. Any other comments or questions? Hearing none, I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve,
Pat and I.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Dave,
Anti.
Bill,
Duffy, aye.
and Robbins is a aye. All right. Next up has been continued. 42 Squibnocket Drive. That was in the beginning. We continued that to 25th. And then Steve Augusta at 33 Oyster Shell Lane. That's been continued until September 24th also. All right, next up is vote order of conditions. Margaret C. Murray Revocable Trust, 11 Bullock Street, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, give me one moment, please. And find Bullock real quick.
And the quorum is everyone.
Thank you, Melissa.
Dogs, Bullock. Increase. Plan.
Is that off Mare Vista? Is that the one?
Yeah, I'm getting it. Sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. It's a Merrill plan. I just have to. Okay, great. Oh yeah. Yep, this just had tiny little additions. This was a mild project in the V zone. So it is a 22 square feet increase that I think Tim was gonna note on the plan.
We received a
Uh,
revised plan.
What, yeah, okay, perfect. We received the revised plan. There was supposed to be a placement of a tree, I believe, in the corner of the property.
That's on there too.
Yep, perfect. And that's, I think, all I have then.
Anyone have anything else?
This is the one with the overhang, right, Alyssa? Yeah.
Office
Yeah,
Central.
the overhang.
Yeah.
And then we just wanted it, I think Tim was gonna note and had a discussion with the clients that because they were turning yeah, something into a screened in porch. Just kind of let them know that there shouldn't be any patios or anything closer to the resource area. But Tim was going to alert his clients. I don't think that needs to be written into the order.
Anything else from the commission you want to see in this order? All right. Can I get a motion to,
Motion to issue an order of conditions as discussed, Driscoll.
Bird
Bowman.
second.
thank you, Ron. Thank you, Court. We have a motion, a second to issue order of conditions as discussed. I'm going to go ahead and call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Steve? Oops, Steve, we lost Steve. How about Ron?
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
Dave?
Steve.
And aye.
Bill?
Duffy, aye.
And Robbins is an aye. I don't know what happened to Steve. But anyway, it's unanimous to not unanimous, it's 6-1 with Steve unavailable, I guess. To order issue order conditions for 11 Bullock Street. Next up is Chappaquiddick Associates, care of Dick Bossy, 20 Associates Road, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Oh, we lost Steve.
No.
Watch out for him. Maybe he'll pop back in. This is fixing Big Pier down there over on Associates. It has the dune restoration. I was concerned with the compatibility of the sand that they would get to replace that dune. They're proposing to kind of remove the dune, set it off to the side, at least that sediment, and then go through. This is where they are building that kind of intertidal road to get out there and then working their way back using the stones from the intertidal roadway that they're building to rebuild Big Pier. Where's why? So they're not doing it by barge, but they are bringing a smaller barge in.
To put up the limit of work.
Yeah,
Correct.
that's for that turbidity curtain around in front of the eelgrass.
Yep.
We'll do pre-construction for both the pier and the dune restoration. Honestly, I don't have that much concern with the reconstruction of the pier. We've seen, or at least staff has seen, hundreds and hundreds of these, including ones where they have built intertidal roads to get out there. I'm actually more concerned with the dune restoration of that area. So we'll be doing a pre-construction on that. No storage of machines on the beach or the dune overnight. Courtney, you went on biofuels. And the one thing that they didn't really state on that silk curtain is it should be a weighted silk curtain. I think that's just industry standard and given, but just make sure that's weighted down to protect that eelgrass bed. That's kind of the gist of it. And again, I think it's going to be an important I can't remember. Did they say who they were going to do for big use for the reconstruction of Big Pier? I didn't think they had a contractor yet.
No,
I
they
think
did not.
they talked to Briggs, but they didn't have a final.
Okay, yeah, the name.
Right.
Yeah, I thought it might be Briggs, but I wasn't sure. Okay,
I think that was one of your concerns too. Okay.
what was that, Russ?
I thought that was one of your concerns, who the contractor was going to be.
Yeah, who the contractor is, and then who the dune restoration contractor is going to be. So we'll need approval on that one as well.
Anything else? Okay, the
I'll
motion.
make a motion to issue an order of conditions as discussed.
Driscoll second.
We have motion by Courtney and a second by Ron Driscoll. All right, anything else? Nothing. I'm going to go ahead and call a roll. Courtney?
Bird eye.
Steve's not here, so I'm going to skip over him. Ron?
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
Dave?
Can't tie.
Bill?
Duffy, aye.
And Robbins? Aye. All right, we've issued order conditions for 20 Associates Road. Next up is Mark A. Stows, I'm sorry. Trust Stows Real Estate Trust. Second, 106 Lake Lehman Road, Falmouth, Mass.
Is that
Yes,
small
Mr.
lot?
Chairman. This was just to clean up a lot a little after the fact, unpermitted issues out there with some mitigation. We've worked with the applicant, Mr. Stoves, and Tom to address these. So it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's just a lot of little unpermitted additions, sheds, deck extensions, and mitigation to go with it. Pretty straightforward.
Jen, was that small undersized lot there? Is that the one I'm thinking of?
Off of Lake Lehman?
Yeah. Is that a small
Well,
one?
it
or
is
no?
Lake Lehman. It's over. I don't know which one you're talking about.
No, there's
What's the court?
Ron,
It's all the way down at the end.
Oh, the one all the way down on the left. Okay, I
Yeah.
was thinking of another one. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. You're thinking of I think you're thinking of Lawrence Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else, Commissioner, want to see? All right. Anything, so I'm looking for a motion to issue the orders.
Motion to issue an order of conditions as discussed. Driscoll.
Bird second.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Courtney. All right. No other questions or comments. I'm going to go ahead and call the roll. Courtney?
Bird eye.
Ron?
Driscoll aye.
Ronnie?
Bowman, aye.
Dave?
Can't tie.
Bill?
Duffy, aye.
Robbins is an aye, and so we've issued order conditions for 106 Lake Lehman. Next up is Nathan Holcomb, 270 Sipawissa Road, Falmouth, Mass. Jen.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, this is the one with Mr. Berselli and Crawford Land Management. At the last hearing, the board questioned why they did not relocate the mitigation they have in the wetland area to more in the lawn area as requested. I believe they just disagree with that and would like the board to condition it if that's how we feel. So I believe the board would like to condition was it Alyssa, the mitigation that's currently proposed in the wetland and the invasive area to be relocated in the lawn area.
Yep, that would be per the regulations. And for note, the quorum is Courtney, Ronnie, Ron, and Russ. We're just making it on these two with 4 without Steve here. So that's good.
All right, discussion. Not hearing anything, so we're gonna go. Oh, Bill, don't lose. Oh, no. Bill's not on.
I just think I go along with the staff recommendation. Relocate it. Mike was asking not to continue it, so we closed it and now we'll condition it.
That's right.
Okay.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else?
I'll make a
I-
motion to issue an order, just order conditions as discussed.
Driscoll second.
Alyssa, did you need to say something?
I was just going to say to make a note that any future invasive species removal that has been occurring is to occur going forward with a permit.
Yep.
Okay. So I've got a motion and a second and to issue orders as per staff's recommendation
And discussed.
and discussed. So I'll call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
and Robbins is an aye. So that's the quorum, right, Alyssa?
Yes.
All right. So we've issued order conditions for 270 Sipwissa Road. Next up is Dave Flaherty, Flaherty Environmental and Services, 84 Old Dock Road, Falmouth, Mass. Yeah.
Got it right here. This is to permit some after the not after the facts today. After the facts patio work. Took us a while to get here, but I think we have a plan that we can work within condition. They are going to need to remove some of the patio steps. They're moving closer to the resource area. The mitigation is proposed in the back. Are they proposing a kind of separation most from that back
Yes.
mitigate excuse me, the back invaded area? We're removing those steps over there. They're putting a pergola over the patio, and then we just need replanting on that front slope that faces the salt marsh that was previously vegetated with all sorts of ivy that is currently lawn. So we will work with the property owner to get that vegetated. Anything I'm missing?
Quorum is Courtney, Ron, Russ, and Ronnie.
I'll make a motion to issue an order of conditions as we have discussed extensively.
Driscoll second.
Thank you, Court. Thank you, Ron. Any other discussion? Hearing none, I'm going to call a roll. Courtney,
Bird eye.
Ron,
Driscoll, aye.
Ronnie,
Bowman, aye.
Robbins is aye. So we've issued order conditions for 84 Old Dock Road. Anything else?
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Well, we have a motion to and a second from Bill. To
Second.
Bird eye.
Robbins aye.
Bowman,
Driscoll,
aye.
aye.
Duffy, aye.
That's aye.
I think we got it. Good night, all. Thank you very much.
As always, guys, thank you very
Thank you.
much. Have a great night.
It was a blast.
Yeah.
Later.